Alright, just bring it back. Been ages since I've done a video. Work's been crazy. I've been doing lots of work on the Astra van, but I decided when I got that not to film any of it because basically if I did there'd be about 150 videos and I couldn't be asked. I need the thing for work. I need it to get around in. So I'm not videoing any of the Astra van stuff. Yeah, all my repairs have basically been on that and getting the other cars in the fleet MOT. There's another one now, there's a little Corsa as well hanging around. That's my daughter's, who came back from Australia about a month ago. Well, she's been all over the world for the last 2 years. She's back home for a couple of years doing another degree, and then she'll be off all over the world again. So yeah, the vehicle count's gone up, so I've just haven't had time to do the YouTube stuff. Anyway, that's all waffle. Today I am going to attempt to film this process because it's on the mk3 Escort Cabriolet, and it's a history of everything I've done to the car. That's why I started doing the Escort videos. I noticed inside the car, just after I had it MOT'd, a little coolant leak drip onto the floor mat on the driver's side. Guessed straight away that'll be the heater matrix because that's where it lives, in the middle down there, but the pipe's going in on the driver's side by the clutch pedal. If you're in a right hand drive country that drives on the left. Anyway, it's leaking. So did a bit of research, and my local car place got me that next day. £30, 30 UK pounds. So it's a pattern part, of course, but bearing in mind the car only goes out in the summer on hot days, it doesn't really get used. Occasionally while I'm out, I'll stick it onto the hot setting just to cycle fluid through the matrix, keep the system running. Anyway, there it is. Excuse me, 30 quid. So that is going in the Escort. There's a couple of ways of doing it. There's the way off of the forum, which is you can undo a couple of hoses on the bulkhead, undo a few bits and pieces, and pull the thing out inside the car and slide it in and wiggle it. Or if you go by the manual, it's centre console out, lower trim panels out, unbolt the heater box and take off all the linkages, take off the hoses in the engine bay, etc, etc. Vacuum out, not vacuum with a vacuum cleaner, but vacuum out the fluid in the system. Anyway, that's the way I'm going to do it. Mainly because I don't want to damage this trying to squeeze it in an awkward place, and secondly, so that I can show on video the Ford procedure for doing this, or the Haynes manual procedure for doing it, and I'll be able to get the whole heater out, put it on a bench, then get this out safely and hopefully not damage it. Anyway, that was 4 minutes of complete waffle, so let's get to the car and start. Right, I think I might want to take the covers off first and move it back a bit, give myself some room. Okay, a bit dark, but there's your heater box. Come on, focus. It's dripping just up there where the matrix goes in. As you can see, I've got a bit of a bit wet. It's not gushing out, but see that blue antifreeze there. So yeah, she needs doing. So I need to take off these felt panels underneath and get this centre console out of the way, which is gear stick off, gear knob off. Take this off, and there's 4 screws under here, and should be able to pull this straight out, he says. Let's see what happens. And while I'm doing the internal stuff, put some penetrating oil, you can't see it, on the hose. There's two hoses, that hose, bottom hose, and that bottom hose, which goes through the dashboard, and then there's a metal plate with 2 Phillips screws in it. So anyway, I've put a load of penetrating oil around that. Hopefully that's going to help me. I think I'm going to take the air filter box off to give me a bit more room. It's actually a fair bit tighter in there than I was imagining. Anyway, let's see. Okay. Gear stick off. Good. This should just pull out. It doesn't feel like it wants to just pull out. Oh, there you go. Probably be better if you could actually see what I was doing. One-handed, of course. Just like little poppers. There's a couple of screws in there. Yeah, there may be some more. I think you can't see. Well, I'll get a torch. Right, quick back pedal, springy. First thing I should have done was taking the battery off. As advised by the Haynes manual. I want to take this off anyway to put it on my Optimate to give it a few cycles. I fitted. That's where I take them off in the wrong order. Quick release terminals. Unfortunately, I haven't worked out how to make quick release clamp, so I'll get these 13s off, get the battery out, get it on charge. Right, she's on charge. It ain't bad. It was at 12.6 volts. I haven't started the car for 2 weeks, so this is the time of year. We're now early November. It's the time of year where I won't actually leave the battery on the car. This will now stay in here on the Optimate. In fact, there's two batteries, one heavy duty, one normal. I'll keep them permanently charged. Oh, excuse my frog in throat. The other thing is, on my battery bolt down clamps, normally just have a short 13mm bolt. It's quite a struggle to get anything down in there without smacking all the other bits, so I've just got some longer bolts and put nuts on them. But what I do want to do is get some really long bolts, the same height as the battery, do this so that I can just undo them from the top here instead of having to go all the way down there. Anyway, that's another thing. Where was I? Right, so that's the battery off. I might as well take the air filter off while I'm here. Right, air filter housing is off. I'm not going to go through all that. Next time I do a service on it, I'll go through it, or I've probably been through all this on a previous service or the carb install, but there's lots of videos behind this in front of this. Anyway, there's a bit more room to get to these two hoses here with these clips, and then there's two Phillips head screws diagonally opposite. I think that's going to be real fun. I'm praying that they're not seized in, because that little front plate has to come off. Right, might squirt a bit more penetrating oil in there and then carry on inside. Okay, there's a couple of screws at the back with all this malarkey, so I'll take them two out. I'm guessing underneath the dust these will be Phillips as well, I hope, and with any luck I'll be able to pull this centre console out. There's going to be some wiring to the speaker joystick. So let's have a quick shifty. Some strange bracketry and rubber band stuff going on in here. And that's that one. Well, it's loose, but it ain't coming out. That goes underneath this, so I guess I need to find out how this bit comes out. Oh, see a little screw cover there. I think that's it, just that one at the back. Let me get a small device. Oh, picked up the wrong small device. Come on, you bugger. Yeah, wrong small. Okay, that one did it. Woohoo! Oh, let's get this stuff put somewhere safe. These screws. Okay. Will it come out? Oh, more screws, more screws. No. How is that attached to that? Right, I need to think about this. Oh, it goes backwards. It's got to be just clipped. Oh, we don't want to ruin it. Alright, give me a second. Yeah, Springy, maybe if you actually looked. Duh, there's a screw either side. Right, we'll get them out. Right, strangely enough, if you take the screws out, it comes out. Well, hey, 50p. Well, as ever. It's stuck down. Oh, what year is this? 1969. Wow. That's weird. Huh? I thought we went decimal in 1973, but well, there you go. Does that say 1969? Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some research. Bearing in mind this car is 1984, so it was a 69, 79, so it was 15 years old before it got dropped in the car. I'll do a bit of research on that. It might be worth 50p. Excellent. There's old, not old, there's a very, very young Elizabeth II. Oh, bless her. Alright, on with this. See if we can get this out. Where's your wiring? There's your wiring. Right, looks like this section pops out. Yes, it does, with some clips on the back. Sorry you can't see. Some clips there. I think I need to pop this out and then unwire the back of this. Oh, there she goes. And there's one connector on the back, which I'm going to use 2 hands for. I do not want to break that. Right, that's out. Let's just unplug that connector and stick it up behind here. Okay, there's the bottom of the heater box, but I need to take out these trim panels first, which I've had out before. I can't remember which clips does it. I think it's these clips. So I need to pull these out, get rid of the carpet. Should really use some pliers. Oh, there you go. Should use some pliers really. I think there you go. In the back. Let's get the torch out in a bit for you. Right, go and do the other side. Okay, I'm on the driver's side and there's just that little tab there to bend back, and I've pulled these ones out which actually weren't very healthy, so something I've got to fix properly. There's another one of those tabs there hiding, so one each side. I'll take my word for it. Anyway, next thing I've got to do is pull off these heater air flow ducts, both sides. I think they're both sides. Anyway, find all of them and just pull them aside, and oh man, this is such fun. Okay, they're off. Push that one up. This doesn't seem to have a lot of movement on it. Yeah, not too clever that one. Sorry it's dark. Torch, come on Springy. Terrible. Alright, I need to regather my thoughts. That's one of the heater controls, one of the flaps, cable control. There's another one at the back somewhere. this here is the actual matrix itself. See where that's dripping? Now, I do believe you're supposed to be able to undo these screws, undo it from the bulkhead on the hoses and pull it out this way, but there's a lot of stuff in the way. I'm going to go for taking the whole heater box out, I hope. So I'm going to have a little break now and regather my senses. Right, struggling now to get the cables off. I think what I need to do is undo the two main hanging bolts, 13s, and drop it down so that I can get a good view of the cables. But I think before I do that, I'm going to have to go in the engine bay. Undo these hoses at the back, drain out all the coolant enough to get that out, and then I can drop it down inside. Yeah, I'll take those off and then see how much fluid I can retain. Okay, well, sorry I didn't film it, but it's so tight in there. I've had to get these hose clips came off all right, but the pipes were quite well welded onto the plastic matrix things. So that's the top one there. I've just stuck it up out of the way. That's the bottom one there, and in there is my my vacuum pumpy thing. Obviously I'm going to top it all up with fresh fluid, but this was my attempt to suck out the coolant that's in the matrix so I don't spill it all over the interior of the car. In the manual it says blow through the top and it will come out the bottom, or blow through the bottom and it come out the top, whichever way round. Obviously it's the same water going around, same coolant. So anyway, that's my version of events. Right, this is quite a challenge inside the car, so I'm going to stop now, have a cuppa, wash my hands, put some proper gloves on, and then see if I can drop this heater down and then extract the control cables from the heater. That seems to be the tricky part inside the car. So back in a minute. Right, I need to stop and calm down. Need to start thinking. Use that, not that. Yeah, I need a break. I'm starting to rush, and that's stupid because the car stays put until probably 5 or 6 months time. It don't go anywhere. So yeah, just thinking about stuff. I said I'm going to do it as per the Ford and the Haynes manual, and here I am blasting through it and not referring back to the manual, and silly things like the heater cables. There's two cables that operate, the one's for the venti flap thing and one's for the hot and cold in and out. I was trying to get the front one out and I couldn't actually get to the screw head properly, and I was jamming in my driver in there and trying to do it on an angle and starting to bugger up the screw head. It's not destroyed, I can still get it, but and then I'm thinking, why am I doing this? I looked up and I saw the two big 13mm bolts that hold the whole unit up into the bottom of the dash frame, and thought, well, if I undo those and undo the hoses on the bulkhead, I should be able to drop the whole heater unit down a few inches, which will give me fine room to get the cable screws, the retaining screws for the cables off without buggering them up. and I'm pretty sure now that I've bought that in the manual, which I read through yesterday, I'm pretty sure it said do that. So more for me for not referring back to the manual, and I'm just charging on as usual with me. I want to get everything done yesterday, but this is not my daily car. This is the Escort, and it needs to be done properly without breaking anything else in the manner to which it should be accustomed. So anyway, gonna have a break, cuppa, fag, and I'll be back and calm down a bit. One bit of good fortune, that bulkhead plate and seal, which had two screws in it, was just over finger tight. I managed to get the dumpy screwdriver in there, so that's a relief. I thought that was going to be a pain. So let's have a look inside, see if I can drop the whole box down now. Give me some room to take off those cables. Right. Oh, come on, light. You can't see. This is the main bolt. Come on, Springy, get your torch sorted out. Oh, anyway, look. There's a bolt either side. It's the 13 at the top of the heater box. Going to undo both of them and try and drop the whole thing down. Right, dropping that down. It's going to be a little bit more room to get to this front cable retainer. I'm hoping this will drop the front of the heater box down, and I'll be able to get to the rear one, because that looks, there you go. Right, that one's off. A little bit more room. I can't even see the rear one. There's the bottom of it, which I've already unlatched, but the screw bit's up there somewhere. Oh dear. Reset. Okay. I had failed to detach the two windscreen vents from the top of the heater. Once I detached them, the whole box dropped down, and it was really easy to get to that connector, that fitting. You know what, I need to mark which one goes at the back and which one goes at the front, just in case. Alright, yellow front. Let's see if we can struggle this thing out. Whoops. Okay, one heater box. Right, there we go. That's what I'm trying to get out. These are where those heater cables attach. You know, the control cables. That's what I was struggling to get to. And there's one that lives on there, which I've taken off. So let's whip this out and see what the score is. Taking those two screws out. And there it is. One heater matrix, complete with leaves and a wet seal. Right. We'll get those leaves out of there. Right, it comes with a separate foam seal that you have to stick on, so I've just put it on the way it was on the old one. So let's pop it in now, screw it in. Right, I've slid that back in. There's two little sticky outy bits which will make it only go in the little channel inside. So just gonna do these screws up gently. And then it'll be the great task of putting it all back together, sticking it back in. Okay, right, fast forward a couple of hours. I just couldn't film it all going back in. It's the reverse of taking it out. I ended up taking out the radio, the ashtray bit, the glove box, and some of these panels under here, just so that I could get the plastic vent pipes back on to the heater unit. I've left out the console at the moment. I've put the, sorry about the wind, reconnected the pipes, put everything back together, stuck the battery on, started her up. I'm going to get the fluid topped up and try and get it burped out through the system, make sure it's going through the heater and make sure there's no leaks in here or in there, and then I can put the interior stuff back in. But I've just literally started her up seconds ago. Traditionally it takes ages and ages to get warm. Get back in. I've put the I've put it on hot to allow the water through the system. Might start checking some of my electrics while this is warming up. Make sure everything still works. I've had all this out, all the wires. Remember how this works. So a little light. Oh, maybe I have to have the aerial up for that. Well, there's no light in there. Let's turn the lights on. Yeah, I can't tell. Can't see if anything's really working. I can't even remember if that cigarette lighter works. Obviously something I'd not use in this car. No smoking. Right, I'll play with this lot, come back. Of course I can't hear the stereo because the speakers aren't plugged in. So I thought I've got a light but there's no sound. Yeah, you need to plug in the speaker joystick for that sort of stuff to happen. But anyway, no, it's lighting up. That's working because it was getting hot and there was smoke coming out, so I've pulled it out. Don't know if that's just residue of something, but thought, well, it's working. Oh, I can see the little light in there as well. Right. Oh, I wonder if let's check the blower. See if I managed to connect all the vents up properly. They're working. Yeah, that control's working. Oh, it's blowing out well. Yeah, demister. Actually, there's a lot more blow in this now. I suppose that old matrix was a bit dirty and a bit blocked up. What's that? That's the... Oh, blimey. Wow. Wow, that's powerful. Bonus. Yeah, brilliant. That's blowing a gale through there, so that's working. Let's see. Oh, it's getting warm already. And then that's cold. And that's warm. Hey, tell you what, that new matrix is really efficient. Let's just let it get to full temperature and check for leaks. I don't want to be basking too much glory until I've made sure it's all okay, and I need to check the water level as well, so back in a minute. Yeah, she's up to temperature now. The electric fan's cut in, so that's working. This is on hot, it's coming out hot. So I don't know what was wrong originally with that matrix. I don't know where it's leaking from. I'll have a look at that later. But either way, this one seems to be much more efficient. Okay, that didn't quite go as planned, the video side of things. Anyway, I've chucked it all back together. No leaks that I can see. Well, there shouldn't be. Anyway, not with new heater matrix in. Seem to have smoke coming out of my soldering iron. Right, I've chucked it all back in, chucked the interior back in, checked it, it's all running fine, the heat's working, the blower's working, all my electrics are working. There's a lot of smoke coming out of that soldering iron. Anyway, yeah, speaking of smoke coming out of things, I'm getting occasional smoke coming out of the heater vents. Normally that occurs when sorry, I'm distracted by all the smoke coming out of my soldering iron. Yeah, normally that occurs when you've got a leak in the heater matrix and it burns off the fluid on the radiator part of the matrix and blows it through your vents like white smoke. But it's sort of like weird, intermittent. I'm hoping it's like there's maybe a coating on the rad itself, like for transit, like a anti-corrosion coating, like sort of light oil, and then when it's getting really hot it's burning that off. Anyway, whether, I don't know. It seems fine, it's not leaking, it's not losing any water, it's getting really hot and it's blowing cold and doing everything else. I've put the whole thing back together. I really don't want to spend another 4 hours taking it apart to investigate, so I'll have to just keep an eye on it, see if the water level drops at all, or if I get any drips in there. Pretty sure I haven't damaged it putting it in there, because the heater matrix went into that heater box nice and gently, just on its own, and then 2 screws and it's in, and then the whole thing goes in as a unit, so you can't really damage the matrix putting it in, but who knows. Anyway, since I had the whole dash out to give me room to do everything. It's a fairly new soldering iron. Yeah. that sort of smoke's coming out the dash. It doesn't smell electrical, and everything in the car is working. So if there was electrical, something I'd snagged, I would imagine one of the fuses would have blown and something would stop working. But I've checked all the electrics. That's why I took all the battery and the radio and all the bits out of the dash, so that I could make sure all of the wires were routed correctly. Anyway, which brings me on to the next issue. I've got a bit of an intermittent speaker output on the stereo. It was there before, but what I did is, with all the plugs in, I managed to put a cable tie around all of this and tweak it so it just pulled this input over a little bit, and obviously made contact. And you know what, that worked for the 400 or so miles since I put it in. But of course now, since I've brought it out and disturbed it, I can't get it to work. So I'm actually going to have a look, see if any of those are dry soldered. So I'm just going to reflow these solders, and some of these ones here which do the input, it's got to be a dry joint in there. Other than that, I'm stuffed because it's a circuit board and I'm not electronically minded. But the thing is, this is a period correct stereo. If you watched all my other videos, you'll know it took me about 3 months to find one which had that specific set of connectors and these radio speaker connectors, because I didn't want to alter the wiring. I could easily stick a CD player in it, or whatever, mk3 or all the modern stuff, quite easily. I've got 2 or 3 of them kicking around, but I do not want to change the wiring on the car. It's all original, and this is a period correct one for the car. So anyway, I'm going to play with that. That's for a different video. Like I say, not too bothered. The car's not going out till next spring anyway. Right, that's it. Thanks for watching. Sorry about all the complete waffle. I was hoping to do a really good, concise video, but that's how it goes. It's just a record of what's happening on the Escort. So thanks for putting up with this really long, boring drone. I'll see you soon. Peace and love. I've been Springy. Cheers. Take care.